Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Friday. It's March the 7th. It's rather late on Friday afternoon. I didn't trade yesterday or today. I've been out sick. I just came in briefly. I'm feeling a little bit better today, and I'm still a little weak. I don't have my energy back yet, but I felt good enough. I needed to get out of the house for a little bit, and so I thought I'd come in the office and just check on some things and maybe do a quick look at the chart. But I'm kind of feeling up to doing a brief, it is going to be brief chart lesson though. So, but again, I didn't trade today. Um, I didn't even get here till after lunchtime basically. So, I didn't I never got off the couch yesterday. So, whatever my daughter brought home with her stomach bug, of course she passed it on to me. So I've been, and I mean, it was a rough 24 hours, but luckily it's only like a 24-hour bug, and now I just need to kind of get my strength back. But this is today's chart. We had really a downward channel. There was some big news that came out this morning right here, and you really can't trade that. You just have to wait on things to kind of settle down. Um, we'll talk about that in a minute. Here's yesterday. I got some information, some questions about yesterday. There's a clear channel kind of working up here, and this might actually be a little higher here. Maybe it might even be right here, and this may be an overshoot. You got a little overshoot. I mean, it's not uncommon to see overshoots of the channel in the overnight hours, only to see prices get back in during regular hours. But you can see that this is an obvious trend line, a break, move to a retest that made a double top, and then all the volume kind of died after that, and there wasn't much volume from say 1 o'clock to 3. And today's the same. The volume was really big till maybe noontime. Look at all that volume back this way from 8 o'clock, 7:30 to uh, maybe noontime right in here. And then from noontime to 3 o'clock, that's all we had. Just not much happening. So, um, but let's talk about the price action real quickly. And again, I'm going to go through, there's a bunch of trades here, but I'm going to go through them really quickly, and I apologize, but I'm just not, I'm not feeling real good today. I am feeling better, but I'm not 100%. So, but if you were looking for a chart lesson for yesterday, obviously you know why I wasn't there. Let's talk about today's chart. Um, Really, it was hard to find anything on it. This was news driven. Today at 7:30, there was the non-farm payrolls and the unemployment. Those are big numbers. Those are next to FOMC. They're probably two of the biggest market movers. So it's really not wise to trade during that. I would just stay clear of it because you could be right. And there's no way to know I don't care what anybody says. People that are news traders, the only way they make money is if they get lucky, because it's just almost impossible to trade. You can't trade it with stops, that's for sure. And if you're wrong without a stop, you can see it can move against you in one bar within moments, multiple points. So let's say you went short right here at 7:17. Well, by 15 minutes later, it's how many points? 87.50. It's basically 10 points higher, and it's straight up, and there's no way to trade that. And so I think trying to be I see all these strategies on news trading, and I just shake my head when I see that stuff. Uh, I'd be really surprised or shocked if anybody can make any consistent money doing that, because nobody knows how the news is going. And anybody that thinks that the market's rigged and people get the news in advance, they could trade it, they're crazy. You cannot guess what the market's going to do, because it can be the greatest news in the world and the market goes straight down, and it can be the worst news in the world and the market goes straight up. So they love to run it in one direction and get everybody trapped in long right here, and then they start selling it off, and you see what happens. And one thing that you hear me say a lot is it's very rare when you'll see a news item that will start a trend that continues. What normally happens is sometime rather quickly, it'll take all that price action back, like right here, and then the market kind of starts over again. Uh, And if you can find this, it's a little difficult to find because it's a channel here, but it's inside of other price action. And what happens is in the overnight hours, you'll sometimes, just like yesterday, you'll get these moves outside of channel, but by the time the regular market opens and things get back to more liquid, to where there's more traders, it gets back in the channel again. And so it's not uncommon to see breaks outside early during the overnight that don't really lead to a reversal yet. You got to get a break later that leads to the reversal. And you can see that you got your break here around the 9 o'clock hour, sold off to a new low, and then we just pretty much went to a trading range. Maybe a slightly upward bias here of a channel. You can see where I drew the line off the lows and have moved it to the highs now. We never got back up there. We got really close, but the market closed. So just some important things to be aware of. But remember that about news. Write that down. Put a sticky on your monitor. When you get big news like this, don't try to trade this. It's almost impossible to trade. You got to wait till the market starts making normal bars again. And then there was a little trap here. Really, the trap occurred here, but then not enough people are wise enough yet. They want a little more confirmation, and you got more of it here. Plus, it's off that trend line, and that's where the sell-off really started, you can see. So just remember, write this down and remind yourself that when you see a big news move like this, normally within the next hour or so, prices are going to work their way back and restart where they ended at. And it's so common. I can show you this over and over and over. And, there's nobody out there. I've never heard that before. It's just something I've recognized. Maybe it's out there. I'm not saying it's my idea, but it's something I recognized from sitting here and watching prices thousands of hours worth that, whenever you have a big news move like that, it usually takes it all back rather quickly because it's emotional and it's not necessarily, the real market. It's an emotional reaction to news, and they'll come out and say that the news is what caused us to go up, and it probably is, but they'll write the news. I can assure you of this. They write the news to fit the price action for the day, and they'll end up saying that the price action negatively affected, the non-farm payrolls negatively affected the market, and we had a big sell-off, and only to come back and end it neutral. Because you see, we started right in this area at 1878, 77, and look where we closed, right back at the same place. So the market did nothing today. It really ended non-change. So the news affected it up and then down, and then we just closed right back where we started. And so technically it didn't do anything to the market. So I didn't mean to get that far into the news, but since I was talking about it, I think it's an important idea to talk about. But let's get through these. I'm going to go through these really quickly because I'm already getting worn down. My voice is a little weak too. So, but you got to stay out until you start to see normal. And when it's getting normal because the bars get normal. And you can see the bars started getting normal about here. And but we're waiting. We're just looking for a good reason to go short. It's too early here. Still too big a chance you hit the EMA, but look how I went right through the EMA right there. That's a good sign that you're going to see a reversal soon. You didn't get any rejection off that EMA there, and you tried to go higher. Notice this new high, first entry pullback. There's a second entry long. I don't even know if it's a failure, but it's close enough to be considered a failure. Let's just see if you entered on a stop 84, and it was a 4-tick failure. It turns down. It's a failure right there, so you could go short there. It's still a little bit aggressive, I think, because it's a news-related item, but when it tried to go higher yet again and turned down, and that's really bearish looking right there, much more so than these two inside bars that look more like indecision bars because there's big stems on each side. This is a better looking one. This is where you really want to get short. And this is the one that leads to taking all the move back in one swift. And plus, there's a two-legged move here too. Notice this. There's leg. I would call that leg 1 probably right there. And then leg 2. It actually went more than leg 2, 2 legs down. But that's a two-legged move down. So then you're probably going to see a two-legged correction, and you do. I don't think you can go long right in here because you got this clear trend line working down, so you got to wait on a break. And you do have a second entry short right here, but look at that signal bar. Look how bullish that is. You can't go short below that because this is what happens. You get trapped. And it only traps you just enough to run your stops and fool you and get you to switch directions and trap more people. But look at that reversal bar. I like going short right there. And if you didn't, once it tried to go higher again and came off that line again, you could have tried to use a limit order in here on this bar. But this is where you really had to, this needs to be a little bigger here. This is the real trade. This is the real signal bar right here. And it's you know, on a bigger picture, it's a second entry long, so it's a better trade. Notice this one leg up, pull back, and there's a second leg up, but it's just got two swings in it. So if you know, that sometimes that'll help you by looking for the measured move, although in a trend you don't always get a measured move. So you see that it's almost a, if you use the, where you got most of the closes, it's a perfect measured move. It even went a couple of ticks higher. So I like that one. And look at that move. And then you get a little bit of pull. I think it's too risky going short there because you're back here where all this support is. But it does take on off right there. And you, once it's going on down, it really gave you no failed second entry long to try to get another shot to get in there. But you should have been, you know, you could have been thinking, hey, these two legs were probably one, then because you got two legs in the middle there, so you're probably going to get another leg down here. So if you saw that, you might have, you know, thinking about it like that, I probably should mark that one in green because aggressive trader, if he's out now, he's probably going to get back in right here. I think it's a little risky being, you know, right here where we've already worked our way back for the market to reset, so it could go higher again here. But it didn't, and you know, the channel continues to hold, and then you get a measured move down off the, you know, using the two sides of the channel, and you find the bounce down here. But notice the break of this shorter term channel, and that's the key. And then you get two legs down to a new low. Well, what does that usually mean? You're going to get a correction. And so here we go. We start correcting, and even here a real aggressive trader might have gone long. This is not a failed second entry short, but it's still a failure to continue to go further. So aggressive trader might have even gone long here on a good setup bar. I don't like that setup bar, but when it ticked back here and went high, I really like that one. That's like a breakout pullback long. Notice the median line, it got through, it comes back and tests it. It gets through the EMA, it comes back and tests it. It's a breakout pullback long over this area right here. You can see that. And there's multiple reasons. It's another bounce off the trend line. You do get a break here though. And you got to figure you're coming back up to least here, and then there it goes. And then you get a failed second entry short right here. Notice the new low, first entry, pullback, second entry. It's a little bit of overlap. I went back and forth whether or not to make this one green or not. Probably should have, but those traps, you know, we are working up now. And we did have a, you know, I was trying to consider if this was good enough for a break, but I don't think it was. I think this turned out to be your break right here. And so you go along there, but then you really get tied up in all this stuff, and there's always a chance you're going to go higher here. So you got to wait on some kind of trap, and I think the downtrend started again right here. And I'll show you this. You get this, you kind of get two legs back, and then it tries to make two legs up, and then another move up. So it's like a failed second entry. It's definitely a second entry short. Here's your new low, first entry, pullback, second entry. And it's like a failed second entry short. Notice how these highs are lower each time working down. And there's your first second entry short with a little trap. You don't know that it's going to take off like that. But you figure you're going to go lower, that this channel's got to make a retest for a low. And down it goes, and then you get this little pullback, breakout pullback short. It's a little bit choppy in there, but you know, you're looking for prices to come here first, and if we get through there, we're probably coming all the way down here. And if you start that move, you're really probably thinking measured move like this. We don't end up getting anything near that. we come up way short, but that tells you something too. Well, I say we came up way short. We really didn't. We came up 69 and a quarter, a couple of points maybe. So that's not a, I mean, it's not a huge miss, but that tells you something. When the market can't make that target, especially a retest of it, then it probably means the market's going the other direction. So, and it means it's probably going to go the other direction a good bit. So that would have led you to, on this double bottom here, if you're still trading, it's really late in the day to be thinking long. But anyway, aggressive trader would have entered short here looking for the retest down here, and it just falls like a rock down through here. I think most people realized that we were going lower at that point, and then you get down here and look where it finds all the support right around down here. And the first time you really get a chance to go long is here. Notice the new low, first entry short, pull back, second entry short, and it fails when this bar right here breaks higher. I actually had this drawn off those lows right there. Now that I made the chart bigger, it's not quite on those lows, but it's close enough. This probably needs to be a little bit steeper at this level. And you can see how that fits really well. That's holding prices really well until you get a break, and then you really get two legs up to a new high, and then it starts the other back down the other way. But this is a failed second entry short, and this is a true failure. That's a great reversal bar. So even if you didn't take the short there when it broke higher here, either put your stop there or use a limit order. You know, a lot of times when you use limit orders, especially on these reversals, you're going to miss these trades though. So you just about have to enter on a stop and hope for the best. Or if you're going to use a limit order, don't be too conservative. Maybe put it right at the top of the bar, maybe a tick in, and you could have gotten filled a tick in on that one, it looks like. And then boom, off it goes. And you can see it trapped everybody because look at that move, and then it pulls back. And look at that reversal bar. Right off the EMA, that's rejection of prices at that price, and right off that midline. Just put a stop right there, another easy scalp, and then pulls back again. And, you know, an aggressive trader's probably going to give it one more shot, and boom, off it goes again. And those are first entries, but that's all you're going to get. Notice how tight that channel. You don't have room for anything much more. This one, a little more iffy. This one, you're expecting prices to come up to here at least, and you may get a good complete reversal, but you get kind of a break right here. But again, you know, it could be that prices, you know, this is just a little lower than what I originally had it or whatever. So, and then you get a possibility to go short right here. I wouldn't go long again here because now you've got the break and two legs up, and at the very least you got a break and one leg up, and you know you're getting too aggressive when you start looking for the next entry, unless it's a really good setup. Let's just see if it would have worked if you'd have taken that. Your entry would have been 76 and a quarter, and it only made it to 77. So you can see that if you did, you know, you're entering right at the trend line right there, so it's really aggressive. But if you did enter there and you were wrong, when this bar turned back, I'd be exiting. I'd take me a break even or get out with a tick or whatever. I don't know how fast that happened because I wasn't here, so but I'm assuming you would have had time to get out of that with a tick or so. And then guess what? You get a second entry long right here, but you know you're coming off this part of the channel, so you're looking for a possible reversal, but notice how that went right through the EMA. This is what a reversal pattern to the downside looks like. So you don't want to be going long right here. You could. It's a second entry long. Aggressive trader might take that, thinking prices were going to come back at least to the EMA, which they did, and it would have worked. But I don't think you want to take that trade. I think you're better off to wait right here. And this is like a failed second entry long, even though it's not really a failure. Go short right there, and it takes it a minute, but that's an easy move down. And then you get, and notice the channel's working here. You did get a little overshoot here to the downside, but now you get that overshoot here, and you get a second entry short. right here. And you could have gone short below either one of these bars or just dropped, when it broke here, drop a limit order. And you see you would have gotten filled a couple of different ways. But you would have got a scalp, then it came back and got your runner, and then you get a second entry short. Uh, I went, I kind of hesitated back and forth whether to make this one green or not, but I just think, I know an aggressive trader would take it. And it's a little close to this low and the median line, but you're really figuring prices may come down here, so I went ahead and made it red. It worked out real. That's a fairly bearish bar. It didn't close right on its low, but look at the stem up here and how, it was trading way up here. It broke higher first and then turned down and closed way down here. So that's a good sign. And it's it's somewhat of a trap too, because people were trying to pick a bottom and then boom. And actually somebody sent me an email, and I think this somewhere in here is where he thought that they were going to trap everybody to the low side. And all they did was they did trap people to the low side that are getting in way down here, and they run their stops, and then they fool them to the upside. And he was thinking about going long. I think this is where he was talking about. I couldn't really put my chart together with his. So, but I think this is what he was talking about. And I don't know if he ended up going long there and getting trapped to the long side, but you see what happened if he did. So you got to be real careful. Even if you know to look for traps, they'll trap you trying to trap. It's a game. It really is a game that they play. And he was playing the game and maybe still got trapped if this is where he was talking about it. Again, I had a hard time with my chart trying to figure out, but I think this is where he was talking about. And it was either here or here, one of the two. It must have been here because he was wanting to get long, and I think he would have gotten stopped out. If he was talking about here, then he might have been reading it right, but I want to say he was talking about over here, and if he wasn't reading it right. So he missed this down channel in the break, so you got to get a retest. Now this could have been good enough for the retest, but you better wait on a second entry to find out. So, and that doesn't come till down here, and you see it work then. So, and that's getting you into the 130 hour. I didn't mark anything past that. I didn't think I'd feel good enough to get through all these trades, but I did, and it's 22 minutes, which is more than I wanted to do. So I'm going to wrap it up. Hopefully I'll be back full speed Monday, but I hope you had a good trading week. And if not, put in your study time, study your work. And that actually leads me to one more comment I want to make. I want to make sure people understand that when I say you're studying your chart, and the only reason I bring this up is because I got an email or a comment on this website, I think it was. Somebody said, do you put your, when you study your chart, do you start at the hard right edge and study it out like the bars? No, we're not. When I say study your chart, I'm not talking about go back and practice trade again, because I don't think that makes you better. What makes you better is throwing this chart down in front of you and studying your actual trades. And then when you get through studying your actual trades, just look at the price action. Why did prices shoot off right here? Or why did prices shoot down right here? And why did prices fail down here and go back? And why did prices bounce way up here and go? Try to figure out why these things happen. Figure out what these patterns look like. Figure out that's how I learned all this stuff. I'm not looking to practice trade again. What I'm trying to get across to people is trading does not make you a better trader. You can trade and trade and trade and trade and trade and trade. Sure, you might get better at just understanding the price action a little bit, but what makes you really better is studying your trades, trying to figure out why they worked when they worked, figure out what you did right when you're right, and figure out what you did wrong when you're wrong. Try to figure out, hey, when I got right here, did I just get lucky, or was I really reading things properly? That type, when I'm saying study your work, that's what I'm talking about. It's just trying to understand what was going on when prices were headed down here. What was going on where they just came off the upper side of the channel and they're headed to the low side. That's why that occurred. And why did prices reverse right here and come back up here? Because they just came off the low side of the channel and now they're headed back to the top. And look what happens when you get back to the top. They start working down again. until they fail, until you get this break of a channel and then a retest, and then you're headed in the other direction. So when I'm saying study your chart, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about go back and practice trade again. So make sure that's clear to you. So I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.